But that mama, that's why these kids out of control. It's the parenting. Y'all some parents, I gotta say.
Teachers and parents are looking at this problem with the kids and saying, how are we going to fix this problem? The teachers think that it's the parents' fault. The parents think that it's the teacher's fault. There's got to be an answer somewhere. Here's some more videos and let me know what you think in the comments below.
Parents, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. 9 times out of 10, it is not the school. It is not the school district. It's not the teacher. It is your child. I know as parents that is hard to have to swallow, that your kid could do or say some of the things your school and your teacher said they did. But 9 times out of 10, it is. Now, I know there's a very few chances that it is a bad teacher in a bad school, because that does happen. But the majority of the time, it is not. So it always hurts my heart to see people get on Facebook, these parents, and get to ranting and going on and bashing an actual teacher or school system and tarnishing reputations that don't need to be tarnished. I know you love your child, but you also need to hold your children accountable. Stop doing everything for them and let them learn to be good human beings. And trust your teacher until they give you a reason not to. My child couldn't do that. They can, and they probably did. We need to trust our teachers until they give us a reason not to be. It's not kids right now. It's parents that make teaching so hard.
So he came home and told you I don't like him. Okay, and then you called me to ask me why I don't like him. Okay, well, if he meant that I don't like when he disrupts my class, get up out of his seat and walk around like he owns the place, doesn't turn in any work, doesn't even attempt to do his class work or put forth any effort into anything, distracts the other students because he doesn't want to do his work, and so he doesn't want anybody else to do their work because he wants everybody else to be sitting there doing nothing like he's doing. Okay, because he can't keep his hands off other people's children. And anytime he has an issue with somebody, he has to put his hands on them instead of using his words. Because he wants to be rewarded with treats even though he hasn't deserved anything, because he does not follow directions. Because he's being held accountable for the things that he does and does not do in this classroom, and he doesn't like it. Because every time he leaves my classroom, another adult comes to me telling me how he does not listen or follow directions well. Because while the class is trying to learn and work, he's humming, whistling, and dancing all over the place, acting like he has no self-control. Because he wants me to let him disrupt my entire class and not say anything to him, because he has no consequences at home and he doesn't want any at school. So if me not tolerating those things in my classroom means that I do not like him, I guess I don't.
The following are actual emails I have received from parents with reasons of why their child should not have to do their math homework. I was notified by my child that you made them miss lunch in order to do their math homework. This is problematic. You have traumatized my child. I will be reporting you to admin, and I want him removed from your class. There's also the parent who complained about me to an external mental health counselor who reached out to me to set up an appointment. Last night, my child had an emotional breakdown because they got frustrated with the homework. You have assigned way too much homework. Now keep in mind, this was at the beginning of the year. A lot of 7th graders came in not knowing 3rd, 4th, 5th grade math because of COVID. The homework I assigned was to students who did not know how to do basic things that they should already be competent in, like adding fractions. I cannot teach you 7th grade if you do not know how to add 3-digit numbers and how to add fractions. So that is what I said to the parent, that your child is currently at a 3rd grade level. The math questions on the homework assignment do not align with the state standards for 7th grade. I will not be putting my child in distress for content they do not need to know, and my child will not be doing this assignment. This is from a parent who actually made my life very, very difficult all year. One of the emails was, my child had soccer practice until 8 p.m. and was too tired to complete the homework. Please excuse them from this assignment. I get it. People are tired. Not a problem. How about you ask for another day? How about you say my child will do it over the weekend? I'm okay with an extension as long as they get the practice. But no, they just didn't want to do it. Teachers literally cannot hold students accountable when the parents will find every excuse in the book because their child is too emotional and too tired. So then you're going to complain about your child failing. It is the parent's fault that the child is failing.
I don't know how y'all teachers do it. I have no idea how y'all do it. I just watched a video of I guess she's an administrator. Maybe she's the principal at the school. Not sure her exact title, but I know she's not the teacher. Where she had to have a phone call with a parent about the behavior of her child. When I tell y'all, this phone call was so hard to watch from the teacher's end. And the teacher, or the administrator, she did a great job with controlling her tone and controlling what she said. But that mama, that's why these kids out of control. It's the parenting. Y'all some piss parents, I gotta say. Y'all are some parents. The administrator is explaining to the mom that her child is suspended for 4 days for causing a whole ruckus in the classroom, throwing stuff, just had a whole tantrum in the classroom. And they have been trying to get the mom on the phone all day. Finally, they get her on the phone, and she basically telling the administrator she ain't trying to hear what she got to say. Her child don't act like that. Did you see him do it? And she's like, yes, I actually seen it with my own eyes. This is not hearsay. This is what I witnessed with my own eyes when I was called to the classroom to help try to tame your child. She told the administrator she didn't want to hear nothing that she had to say. She kept cutting her off. The administrator was like, the whole classroom, it was complete mayhem. She gonna ask the administrator, well, what's mayhem? Ma'am, what's mayhem? Your child is what is mayhem. I applaud the level of patience that she had during that phone call, because it couldn't have been me. Absolutely not. That lady was too rude. We couldn't even hear her, and you can tell that she was being rude on that damn phone.
I just watched a video of a parent complaining that, oh, the school let the teacher quit, and now we have a permanent sub, and now I have to go home with my son every day and teach him things that they're not learning because there's a permanent. You should have thought about that before you started doing all of that.
Oh, there's a reason schools won't enforce consequences anymore, and parents don't want to hear it. When a child hurts a teacher today, the school doesn't respond with accountability. They freeze because parents have bullied schools into accepting their philosophy that consequences are dangerous, harmful, and traumatizing. And let's be honest about where this started. Gen X started this. Not all of them, but a majority. They decided that saying no was damaging, discipline was harmful, and that kids' feelings were more important than adult authority. And that mindset didn't stay in homes. Parents pushed it into schools. It eventually made its way into colleges, where teachers and therapists are trained in these faulty ideas. Now, the kids Gen X raised are parents, and they've doubled down. No consequences, no firm boundaries, and no discomfort. Now, everything is harmful and excused, especially if the child has autism or special needs. And special needs do not mean freedom to abuse people. So when teachers in schools try to step in, they don't follow through. Why? Because parents will call and complain. They'll contact the school board. They'll bash the school online. And their big power move, they'll threaten legal action. Real advocacy sounds like this. I support the school enforcing structure and consequences because my child needs limits.
My son is 5. He is in kindergarten. He says, Mommy, my teacher said something really mean to me today. I was like, okay, what'd she say? And he was like, she called me obnoxious. Can you believe that? Can you believe the teacher said I was obnoxious? I said, well, what were you doing? He's like, I was talking. I was like, well, were you doing like potty talk? Were you talking like gibberish? Were you talking about something over and over again that she asked you not to be talking about? Were you asking her the same question over and over again? He was like, no, I was just doing regular talking. I was like, okay, were you supposed to be talking? Says nothing. I said, were you supposed to be talking? No. Okay. Did she ask you more than once to stop talking? Yeah. Okay. So it's the end of April, and teachers are also tired and ready for summer. And if your teacher asked you to stop talking multiple times and you kept talking, that's obnoxious. And she's well within her rights to say that you were probably being obnoxious.
It was interesting to see in that last video that there was one parent who was actually taking some accountability and making sure that they give accountability as well towards the actual student or to the child. And sometimes we don't see this enough in some of these videos. And I think that it's actually very important to note that it is important to make sure that your kids are held accountable. Now, some people may think differently. I still don't really know if it is the parent or the teacher's fault, but the reality is that it needs to be fixed. I'm curious on what you think, and please leave a comment below and let's continue the conversation. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.